Welcome to Violin Adventures number 227. We start off getting a lot of little projects done, and then we continue on to our 1700's Gagliano Cello and also our 1800's violin. Hope you enjoy. We're starting early Monday morning to get as much done as we can. That has a crack on the side. We're going to pump some glue in here and see if we can get it closed up real nicely. We'll let that dry for a few hours and go on to the next repair. Well, this morning we're checking on our bows that we rehaired yesterday. They're all dry, so the next thing is to get some rosin on there. The 1700's Gagliano Cello. We're going to get these cleats out. So working here, I want to find out, is this varnish coming through? What is this? Or is this just glue? So I'm going to take these off and we'll check it out. Address this issue of using heat on these instruments. That's like a last resort, because when you're working with very old instruments with an oil varnish, you can really damage the varnish and the instrument. We got to remember, this isn't a piece of furniture. This is an instrument that's playing beautiful music. So we don't want to use heat unless we really have to. This is a lot of cleats and they're really big and heavy, so all this needs to be taken down. The goal here is not just to patch the instrument. It's not to put a bandage over the problem. It's to fix the problem and help the instrument sing again, get those vibrations going. So here there's just too many and too thick. Now I've got very hot water here, but the purpose is to clean it and not disturb anything else. That feels good. Now I'm going to let this dry and we'll see if that color comes back, and then we see if the color is gone, if that was just glue or if there's varnish coming through. I washed it down, so if there's any glue residue, if it's hide glue, it just should wash off. Well, this is not washing off and it's been bothering me. So I was scraping on this where the color is, and it's some kind of plastic glue. It's not hide glue. So these cleats were put on with this is where I want to get my gavel out, because we use hide glue only. You don't use some kind of, this is some kind of other glue I'm not familiar with, but it's putting a plastic coat on the cello. We don't want that. These are just extra hard to get off. They don't come off like they should, and you put water on them, it doesn't seem to help. So, and then it has left all these marks. I'll show you what I mean. Hide glue doesn't leave this kind of mess here. And here again, we have all of this, and I just was trying to figure out what is going on here. Well, it's not hide glue, it's some other kind of glue. So this is some kind of epoxy or some other kind of glue. Which leaves like a hard plastic coating. So the good news is getting this all off, it should really help cello free up and be free to vibrate. Instead of putting inlaying a sound post patch, which would strengthen it and allow the wood to continue vibrating, they just poured this glue over here. It almost acts like a super glue, but I don't know what it is. So I've got to try to scrape this off just to free up the cello, especially in this area. Right here is a lot of glue just sitting here. So I'm going to try to get this off. And I'll show you up close when I scrape this glue what it looks like. It's definitely not hide glue, and when I use water it only softens the wood around the glue. It doesn't affect the glue. So I'm going to scrape this here, this plastic coating, so you can see it. Here's what the glue looks like as I scrape it, and I need to try to get as much of this off as I can, just so the wood will be free again. But this is going to take a little bit of time. Each patch has a layer of this on there. Here you can see there's lots of glue in here that I need to scrape off, especially in this area. Alright, we got the bulk of the wood out. Now we'll try to clean it up a bit. The 1800's violin repair. Okay, we're working on this old German violin, and this one crack that is very noisy right here, I cannot get it to go together. So it's missing a little bit of wood, so I'm going to add a little piece in there. Where is that piece I was going to add? Oh, right there. Okay. Let's see. And while you just think a lot about these instruments and where they've been, and if only they could tell their story. And I'm just imagining with these repairs, it might have been a really poor family, and this was a well-loved, beloved violin in the family, and an accident happened and it really got broken up. And so they just tried to repair and do with what they had. So we're going to try to get this back to a happy violin again. We're going to take this lower block out. This is the one where the grain is going sideways, and we want it to go up and down. I'm taking all that extra glue off all around the edges. All right, that's looking a lot better. Get all the clumps of glue out. And I'll make sure this is all flat here and smooth before I add the blocks. Okay, I've been working on the back, getting the glue cleaned out, taking out the block, and there's no corners on this one, although there's little tiny pieces of wood that are pushed into the corner, which is good. It strengthens it, but let's hear how it sounds. So the first thing I want to do is get all the ribs attached nicely to the back before I do the blocks, and also I'm going to put the little corner blocks in just to give it strength, because this little violin can use all the help we can give it. Okay, the graduations are kind of all over the place, which just is a sign of a completely handmade instrument. But let's hear the tone. So we've got tone now. So I've got it mostly cleaned out here, and I'm going to check the cracks, make sure they're good and solid, and then we'll work on a soundpost patch. Okay, this little section here is pushed up, and it needs to match this other side where it's just rounded nicely. This needs to be rounded nicely. So right here is a crack, and it's been filled with maybe glue, who knows, but I need to clean that out, open it up, and try to push it back to the original shape. If you look close there, it's full of dirt and glue, I think. So I'm going to clean that out, and then we'll see if we can push it back. So we'll just let this dry in this shape, and then we can close it shut, and then we'll work on a patch. We're going to glue in the blocks, and I'm going to try to use this. I'm going to use this original block, neck block, because once I got all the glue and crud off of it, it fit pretty nicely. So okay, we're going to probably let these dry over the weekend. And this special violin that came in the mail comes from the grandfather, who was born in 1883 from Yugoslavia, and he moved here and lived in Oregon, Illinois, working in the silicon mines. So we're going to restore this back to its former glory. We've got a big crack here and a crack here that have been repaired, but they're not, the pieces weren't put together flat. So we can probably open that up and re-glue that seam. The same with here. They're a little bit open. And then this, we've got a lot of glue around here, so this little guy needs to be opened up. We're probably going to want to give it a new base bar, but we'll take a look at the one that's in there. Cleat all these cracks. The neck came loose at some point. We've got glue all the way around here and not a good contact right in here. So that probably means that the upper block came loose too. So we're gonna probably reset this neck. You can see the pegs aren't fitting well, so we'll check those out. The nice thing is the back seam is still closed. So we're gonna take this violin and we'll wait until we get this other violin done so that we can concentrate on this one. Here's the bow. It's a nice bow that can be rehaired. And this is just being creative. So I'm imagining that the hair got too long, so they just added wool washers here to lengthen this so that they probably could tighten the hair a little bit more. The only problem with that is, and I'll show you, that it puts stress on the end of this channel. And the nice thing is that this didn't crack out. Sometimes it cracks out when you pull too far, but this one is still good. We don't have a mother of pearl slide here, but we can still rehair it. Time for a story. Reading in Violins and Violinists by Franz Farga. We're taking up Paganini on page 161. Paganini's native town was Genoa. His parents, Antonio Paganini and Teresa, were inconspicuous people who loved music, but were, according to their son's testimony, not very musical. Nicola, born on the 18th of February, 1784, began by learning to play the mandolin from his father at the age of 5. 2 years later, he was taught the fundamentals of violin playing. Within a few months, I was able to play any music at sight, he said later. Italy's attention was soon focused on this unusual talent. Antonio took his son to Giovanni Costa, known as an efficient organist, violinist, and leader of church choirs in Genoa. Costa agreed to give Nicola 1 lesson per week at a moderate fare. This course, however, lasted for only 6 months, as the pupil quickly surpassed his teacher. At the age of 8, Nicola composed his first violin sonata and played in several churches. He was hardly 11 when he gave his first concert. Nicola played several pieces by Corelli and Tartini. This was received with tumultuous applause. The critics praised the young artist, and influential people offered Antonio Paganini their help with Nicola's education. Among these, the Marquis de Nigro deserves special mention. He sent Nicola and his father to Parma, where at that time Alessandro Rolla was leader of the court orchestra. Rolla was a good composer, some of whose violin duets are still played. His chamber music is rather more in Boccherini's style than in Haydn's, and was once highly valued. He took a special interest in the viola as a solo instrument, which was then rather neglected, writing for it several melodious concertos and duets with the violin. When Paganini visited his house for the first time, Rolla was sick in bed, but revived at once when he heard someone playing with great virtuosity his new violin concerto, which he had just finished and which was lying on a music stand in the adjoining room. He jumped out of bed, rushed into the other room, and discovered a boy fiddling away at the concerto without a mistake and at amazing speed. It is reported that Rolla told Paganini Sr. that there seemed to be nothing he could teach the boy. In the end, however, he agreed to take Nicola as a pupil, with the aim of bringing order and method into the boy's somewhat chaotic knowledge of violin playing. After a few months' instruction, Rolla recommended Nicola to the counterpoint specialist Giretti, and subsequently to Pierre, the well-known composer, with whom Paganini stayed for over 6 months. It is to these two teachers that Paganini owed his great knowledge of harmony and composition, so evident in his numerous works. Now there are pages and pages on Paganini, so we'll probably take a few weeks to get through his story in this book. Freddie wants to chat.
Hi, I'm Freddie, and I was thinking around the house, and I found something really funny. You want to see it? Here it is. Yeah, that was funny. So don't forget to send me your projects, or I'll be finding funny things around here and showing them to you. Okay, bye.
The Hebrew Minute. Or Tzarua la Tzadik. U lishrei lev simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, and for the upright in heart, gladness. I like the idea of sown. It is the same word for sowing seed. So a plant grows and gets bigger and bigger and blossoms is the same idea. Light is sown for the righteous, and for the upright in heart, gladness. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. Friday afternoon, a beautiful, warm, sunny day with a bit of wind. Here inside the shop, we got a lot of work done this week. Let's take a look. Over here, the bows are rehaired. We have the cello and the violin ready to go. We have a load here. We have 4 pieces of pine for a project to make something in the shop that is needed. Well, you'll have to just wait and see. Here's our 1800's violin. Corner blocks are in, and the upper and lower blocks are in, and our top is almost ready to start work on the soundpost patch. Here's our new violin. It's still taking a vacation. And here's our 1700's Gagliano Cello top. And you can see I've got most of the cleats out. This still needs to be cleaned up a little bit more. And the discovery we made this week was that we have a lot of residue from some kind of glue. So I still need to work on this area to get more of the glue out and in here. And then thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your wonderful comments, for your thumbs up. Thank you to the new subscribers, and until next time, bye.